Adventist leaders say that church members are being led astray by evangelical narratives. Ooh, oh my. Just a few hours ago, the church on their official channel published this video where these four discussed the danger of Christian nationalism in the USA. Now, these two here work for communications, and they're interviewing these two who are directors for religious liberty and who start the conversation making the condescending claim that access to information does not mean that you are informed.
Access to information doesn't equal being informed.
In other words, when they have access to information, oh, they're really smart, they understand and they get it. But when you, the lay members, have access to information, you're going to need their professional help, because here comes the magical word, nuances.
We understand that there is nuance. There is nuance here that we need to draw out.
That's right. This is a very nuanced topic that requires special explanation from the Church Religious Liberty Department. These same people who have claimed for over 30 years that killing children is a religious freedom, but still can't tell you why. The same people who come to your church asking for money, but who aren't interested in $2 million. Interesting. Here is Orland Johnson. He works for the NAD. He says that Christian nationalists, quote, are in favor of passing laws which can help to move their religion forward in a substantial way.
When we look at Christian nationalism, it's really the idea that you have a religious group that, has a certain internal politics, and they are in favor of passing laws which can help to move their religion forward in a substantial way. And all of it should be, shaped in a way that helps to promote their religion.
Now, what evidence does he provide of anyone, anywhere in the Christian nationalist movement of seeking to legislate something that is specifically religious in nature? Where exactly do these evangelicals seek to promote their religion through legislation? Nothing. He gives absolutely no evidence whatsoever, but that's no surprise, because that's how they work. Talk all sorts of smack and make all sorts of outrageous false statements about conservative Catholics and evangelicals, but never provide any evidence. And this woman here, associate director at the General Conference, she chimes in and says they are anxious to control the legislative realm, want to Christianize the public realm.
When you have this worldview, you are anxious to control the legislative realm. You want to Christianize whatever that means. You want to Christianize the public realm.
Again, what evidence does she have? Absolutely nothing. She is literally preaching from the voices in her own head. How in the world have these supposedly nefarious Christian nationalists tried to make Christians through legislation? Nothing. She has no evidence whatsoever. And just take a moment to stop and think that through. If evangelicals or Catholics tried to actually implement or push any legislation that was in fact religious in nature, these people would be screaming from the rooftops. But she claims Adventists ignore evangelicals at our peril. Woo! Especially now.
Christian nationalism is something that I think bears further examination on the part of the church. And I think it's something that we ignore at our peril, especially now.
Peril, serious and immediate danger. Now, how in the world are evangelicals a serious and immediate danger to Adventists? Did she find evidence that Bronco Billy here was at church on Sunday singing praise songs, that he was inspired by the ghost of Jerry Falwell? Is he going to get out of jail now and implement Sunday law? Ooh, where exactly is the immediate and serious danger? She, of course, never tells us. No surprise. Now, to those of you watching this video who might be new and are disturbed or confused by what you hear, let me explain. As is documented in their own official journals, the Adventist Church accepted abortion in 1970 in order to make money in Adventist hospitals. However, the position was changed again in 1971 to allow abortion on demand, but this was kept a secret. It was kept a secret because church leaders knew that the church would not accept this. In the 1980s, however, Catholics and evangelicals began protesting at Adventist hospitals and for their support for abortion on demand. And when this got into international media and when the secrets were exposed, church leaders became creative and began claiming that killing children was a religious freedom and that any opposition to legalized abortion must therefore be the work of the evil beast of Revelation. In order to justify their false teaching, Adventists, particularly in North America, began smearing evangelicals and Catholics as evil people seeking to impose their religion because they wanted to outlaw, you guessed it, abortion. Now, why is killing children a religious freedom? Adventist leaders have never explained. They've refused to explain.
Christians can be led astray on crucial issues of national import. They not only can be, but they are being led astray. You know, I think of the evangelical narratives that are coming through on perhaps talk radio or some TV mediums through social media.
Now, how exactly are, quote, evangelical narratives leading people astray? She never tells us. They never tell us. That's how they roll. That's their MO. It's just accusations, accusations, slander, and more accusations. Notice that when Adventists talk about the Sabbath, they always cite evangelicals and Catholics extensively. When they talk about the state of the dead or something like the rapture, they always cite extensive references and sources and give plenty of evidences of what they actually teach. But on abortion, when evangelicals push for legislation to outlaw killing children, the Adventist Church response is a constant barrage of accusations, slander, and wild fear porn. We ignore this at our own peril. We are in serious and immediate danger. Except no, the people who are in serious immediate danger are the multiplied millions of little boys and girls who will be violently hacked to death and killed with the full support and approval of the Adventist Church. The terrible irony here is that evangelicals and conservative Catholics are trying to save children who are in fact in immediate danger, and the multiplied millions of gullible young women and men who are making one of the worst decisions that can be made. But Adventist mythomaniacs in church leadership claim that we are the ones in serious danger, which proves again another point. When these slanderers in our church talk about abortion, it's always about us. They never speak about the unborn child. No, never. It's always about us, us, us. And another terrible irony is that we Adventists, we are in danger. To my knowledge, no other Protestant denomination claims that you are not a living human being until after you are born, but that is the official definition in the official dictionary of the Adventist Church and our own official books published by the GC World Church Leadership, What Adventists Believe. When it comes to the Sabbath, Adventists are correct. On the state of the dead and on the sanctuary, Adventists are correct. But on abortion, the Adventist Church is completely wrong, and the evangelicals are more correct than we are. Their narratives are more biblical than some pagan, diabolical, Egyptian, science-denying claim that you are not a living human being until after you are born. We are in more danger listening to these hypocrites in church leadership than if we listened to James Dobson's Focus on the Family. And if you've been following this topic for any amount of time, you know that a discussion about voting and legislation and evangelicals, that wouldn't be complete without church leaders proudly reminding us that Adventist pioneers publicly denounced slavery, denounced imposter Christians who supported slavery and who criticized pro-slavery laws in government. And true to form, these hypocrites, both of them, are just chomping at the bit to lecture all of us how Adventist pioneers were so bold and openly critical of the government and weren't afraid to get involved in slavery because, quote, looking out for the least of these is not political, it's moral.
And that's why, our first General Conference president, Bynington was somebody who actually was part of the Underground Railroad. But at the end of the day, looking out for the least of these is not a political statement. It's actually a religious statement.
Adventists were very vocal about their position on abolition, and they were quite happy to publish articles which were directly critical of the actions of the US government, not just at home, but internationally. I think we would do well to expose a little bit more of the reality of our pioneers.
Which proves, yet again, this is just amazing. Adventist church leaders are super precise and so knowledgeable about all of the finer details of 19th century Adventist response to slavery, but pretend to be completely oblivious to these same Adventist pioneers who denounced abortion as child murder, as infanticide, as an appalling and enormous evil. They denounced and condemned other denominations who supported abortion, and Adventists openly supported anti-abortion legislation. But today, these purveyors of fear porn act completely all mysterious and oblivious about any of this history. When Adventist pioneers wrote that the diabolical arts of abortion and feticide should be made infamous and criminal, it was not because they were being led astray by evangelical narratives. No, it was because they believed both science and scripture that affirmed the full humanity of the unborn child, and because they fully understood that the role of the church is to tell the truth, which includes affirming the government's duty to protect life and legislate the sixth commandment. If these people simply told the truth, my videos wouldn't even be necessary. I could do something else with my time. But they insist on bearing false witness and defending this abomination, so I have to make these videos. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.